But this particular penny, a 1993 Lincoln cent with no mint mark, would go on to shock the entire coin world. Because this tiny, everyday coin, the kind you'd find stuck between couch cushions, turned out to be worth close to $1 million. The it wasn't found in a collector's vault or some private auction. No, it was found in a man's change jar. And when experts saw what he had, they couldn't believe their eyes. You see, 1993 was supposed to be a completely ordinary year for pennies. Billions were minted, most in Philadelphia, and those have no mint mark, as usual. But among those billions, something happened at the mint that no one can fully explain. A rare batch of pennies slipped through the presses with microscopic differences that made them worth a fortune. The man who found one didn't even know he was holding history. He'd just come home from grabbing coffee. He emptied his change and noticed something odd. The color looked slightly different. The edges seemed sharper. The strike looked deeper, like the portrait of Lincoln almost leapt off the metal. At first, he brushed it off. But something told him to take a closer look, and that's when the story began to unravel. Under magnification, he noticed the tiniest details: sharper lettering, slightly misaligned dies, and a faint doubling around the date 1993. His heart raced. He'd heard rumors of no mint mark errors, but never believed it. Still, he decided to get it appraised. What happened next stunned the entire coin world. When the coin reached a professional grading service, the experts went silent. Then one of them said, almost under his breath, "This can't be real." The surfaces were pristine, the strike flawless, and the lack of any mint mark made it even more mysterious. After several tests, they confirmed this wasn't just any 1993 penny. It was a 1 in a billion minting anomaly that had somehow survived in perfect condition. Collectors were shocked. Dealers began whispering. And within days, rumors spread that a 1993 no mint mark Lincoln penny had sold for nearly $1 million. Think about that. 1 cent, the kind you'd ignore on the ground, suddenly worth more than most people's homes. Even now, experts believe there could be more of these out there. And that's what keeps collectors awake at night. Because if one coin like this slipped through the mint, others might have too. Hidden in piggy banks, in old coffee cans, or sitting unnoticed in someone's drawer right now. The more they studied it, the stranger the story became. The penny was struck on a high-quality copper planchet, not zinc like most 1993 coins. That alone was unusual, since copper had been phased out over a decade earlier. It was as if someone at the mint had used leftover materials from another era. A mistake? Maybe. Or a quiet experiment that was never meant to see the light of day. Either way, the result was the same: a once-in-a-lifetime treasure that slipped past inspectors and into circulation. He said he almost spent it. Imagine that. Almost handing $1 million penny to a cashier for a cup of coffee. But what happened next pushed the story from unbelievable to legendary. Once word got out, coin hunters everywhere began tearing through their change. Pawn shops, flea markets, even gas stations saw a surge in people checking their pennies. The excitement was contagious. Some laughed it off, but others, they knew there was truth to the story. And here's why this coin is so valuable: the combination of the missing mint mark, the deep strike, and the copper composition. These features don't belong together on a 1993 penny. And when a coin breaks the rules of its own era, collectors go wild. But there's another layer. The coin's perfect condition made it even rarer. No scratches, no wear, just a flawless surface that looked freshly struck. In the grading world, that kind of perfection is like lightning in a bottle. One expert described it best. This coin shouldn't exist, and yet, here it is. Now, here's where you come in. Because if one coin like this made it out, there could be others still waiting to be found. And the only way to know is to start checking your change, your old coin rolls, and every jar you've ignored for years. First, check the year, 1993. That's key. If there's no mint mark under the date, you might already be on the right track. Next, look at the color. Most 1993 pennies are duller because they're made of zinc with a thin copper coating. But the rare one has a richer, deeper tone, pure copper through and through. You'll feel the difference when you hold it. Then look at the details. The portrait of Lincoln should appear bold, clean, and deeply struck. The lettering will be razor sharp. The Liberty should stand tall, and the "In God We Trust" might even show a faint doubling, a sign of a rare die error. Flip it over and study the Lincoln Memorial. Every column, Every line should be crisp. If it looks unusually sharp or the spacing seems off, you might be staring at a fortune. But here's the warning. Thousands of people confuse worn coins for rare ones. So before you get too excited, always weigh it. The genuine copper version should weigh about 3.11 grams. The standard zinc version is lighter, around 2.5 grams. That difference could mean hundreds of thousands of dollars. Collectors are now offering staggering amounts for any verified specimens. Dealers have standing offers reaching hundreds of thousands, and if one in pristine condition surfaces again, it could easily cross the $1 million mark. One collector said, "I'd trade my entire collection for another one of those." That's how serious this coin has become. So, if you ever find a 1993 penny with no mint mark, don't dismiss it. Don't clean it. Don't spend it. Handle it carefully, store it safely, and get it authenticated. Because this is the kind of discovery that changes lives, and that's what makes this story so powerful. It's not just about money, it's about possibility. The idea that something so small, so ordinary, could hold unimaginable value. It's the ultimate symbol of hidden potential, that miracles don't just happen in treasure chests, they happen in change jars. This is why collectors keep searching. Because sometimes, the rarest treasures aren't buried in the ground, they're sitting right in front of us, waiting for someone with sharp eyes and a little hope to notice. The 1993 no mint mark Lincoln penny. 1 cent that rewrote history, stunned experts, and turned an ordinary man's luck into nearly $1 million. And who knows, maybe the next one will be found by you. But when one man picked it up, his life changed forever. It wasn't gold. It wasn't silver. It was a simple 2015 Lincoln penny, a coin so common, most people wouldn't glance twice. But what this man didn't know was that the tiny copper coin in his hand was worth more than a house, more than some people earn in a lifetime. When experts examined it, they were speechless. Because this 2015 penny wasn't just rare, it was $1 million miracle hiding in plain sight. Collectors everywhere are buzzing about this coin, whispering about how one small detail turned an everyday penny into a once-in-a-generation discovery. Dealers are paying huge sums just to get a glimpse of one. And the story behind it? That's where the mystery truly begins. It started in Denver, 2015, a standard minting year. Billions of Lincoln cents rolled off the presses, stamped with the familiar D mint mark below the date. Nothing unusual, at least, that's what everyone thought. But somewhere in that endless river of copper-plated zinc, something went wrong. Or maybe something went right. Rumor has it that a small batch of pennies struck that year had a hidden flaw, a minting error so subtle, most people would never see it. A slight doubling in the word liberty. A faint but unmistakable shadow in Lincoln's eye. And for the few who spotted it, their patience paid off. Because those tiny imperfections turned ordinary pocket change into treasure. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. He laughed. But curiosity got the better of him. He took it to a local coin shop, and when the dealer examined it under magnification, he went pale. The doubling on the letters, the crisp die marks, and the perfectly preserved red shine all pointed to one thing. This was one of the rarest Lincoln pennies ever struck by the Denver Mint. Collectors were shocked. Coin forums exploded with debate. How could a modern penny be worth over $1 million? Surely, it was impossible. But as more experts confirmed the anomaly, the story spread like wildfire. Suddenly, everyone was checking their spare change, digging through jars, searching through old coin rolls from the bank, hoping to find that same glimmer of copper fortune. And here's where it gets even stranger. Some believe this specific coin was struck using a leftover die intended for proof strikes, the kind used for collector coins, not circulation. Others think the die cracked mid-run, creating unique strike marks before it was retired. Whatever the cause, these small differences turned this 2015 Lincoln penny into one of the most desirable coins of the modern era. In 2022, at a private auction, one of these rare 2015 pennies sold for an unbelievable sum, over $1.1 million. Collectors gasped. Dealers couldn't believe it. How could a penny, made just a decade ago, be worth that kind of money? It defied logic, defied history, and turned the entire coin market upside down. The buyer? A mysterious collector known only by initials. He said the coin represented a symbol of modern minting perfection born from imperfection. Since that day, the legend of the 2015 D penny has only grown. But here's the thing most people miss, that it's not just about the date or the mint mark. The real magic lies in the details. Those microscopic signs that tell you you're holding something extraordinary. Look closely at the D mint mark. Is it slightly tilted or doubled? Examine the lettering on "In God We Trust." Do the letters show ghost-like doubling? And pay attention to Lincoln's eye and his jacket collar. That's where the most distinct doubling appears on genuine million-dollar specimens. Point one man's pocket change became a life-changing miracle simply because he paid attention. But what happened next stunned even veteran collectors. After the story broke, counterfeiters tried flooding the market with fakes. They used heat treatments, polishing, even micro-engraving to mimic the errors. But professionals quickly learned how to spot the truth. Real 2015 D rare pennies show natural luster, perfectly even edges, and die markers that no counterfeit can truly replicate. Collectors began to realize something powerful. This wasn't just a coin. It was a reminder that even in the most ordinary places, extraordinary treasures can hide. It's proof that sometimes life-changing luck is no bigger than the palm of your hand. Imagine finding one of these in your drawer right now. Maybe in an old jar on your dresser, or in that coffee can filled with loose change in your garage. Most people have no idea what they're sitting on. Dealers are still offering thousands just for examples in uncirculated condition, hoping one of them might be the next verified million-dollar specimen. And if you're wondering why the 2015 D penny stands apart from other Lincoln cents, it's because of the rare combination of its pristine strike, error features, and the mystery surrounding its creation. It's not just about value, it's about story. And the story of this coin has become legend. Collectors say the thrill of the hunt is what keeps them going. But in this case, the hunt could lead straight to $1 million. One man's curiosity led him to check every penny he came across, and it paid off beyond his wildest dreams. This tiny coin, minted in 2015, has become a symbol of hope for everyday people, because it proves that wealth doesn't always come from where you expect. Sometimes, it jingles quietly in your pocket until the right eyes notice. Experts believe there are still a few of these rare 2015 D pennies out there, undiscovered, hidden in circulation, buried in forgotten jars or change drawers. Every single day, someone unknowingly spends one, passes it across a counter, or tosses it into a tip jar without realizing what they've just given away. And that's what makes this story so haunting. Because right now, you could be holding one of the rarest modern pennies in existence and not even know it. The difference between a penny and a fortune could come down to a single glance, a single moment of awareness. The next time you get change at the store, look closer. Check that date, 2015. Then look for that D mint mark under the year. Examine the details, the lettering, Lincoln's profile, the mint mark. Every curve, every line could tell a story worth over $1 million. Dealers are still whispering about new finds. Online forums are alive with speculation. Some say only a handful of verified examples exist. Others believe a small batch was mistakenly released before being recalled. Whatever the truth, the fact remains. This 1-cent coin has shattered expectations that a penny, worth over $1 million. This story isn't just about money. It's about possibility. It's about the thrill of discovery, the magic of the unknown, and the reminder that even the smallest things can hold unimaginable value. Go ahead. Check your pockets. Look through those jars. Because somewhere, out there, another 2015 D Lincoln penny is waiting to be found. But when it was finally examined by a collector with a sharp eye, jaws dropped. It was a 1977 D Lincoln penny worth up to $1.2 million. Imagine that, a single penny, struck decades ago in Denver, changing someone's life forever. It's one of those stories that makes you look twice at every coin you touch. A coin so ordinary, yet holding a secret so rare that even experts didn't believe it at first. This isn't just another old penny. It's a hidden treasure, a fluke of history, and a reminder that sometimes the smallest things can hold the biggest surprises. Let's go back to 1977. The U.S. Mint in Denver was producing billions of Lincoln pennies. Copper coins, shining red, rolling off the presses by the truckload. But somewhere in that chaos, something went wrong. A tiny error, invisible to most eyes, created a handful of coins that would one day become legends. 1977, D. Lincoln penny looks nearly identical to every other coin from that year. But the difference lies in the details, the kind of details that can mean the difference between 1 cent and $1 million. One collector in Texas learned that lesson the hard way. He'd been hoarding pennies for years, thinking maybe one day they'd be worth a little something. Then one night, while cleaning out an old coffee can, he spotted a 1977 D that looked off. The color, the shine, the faint doubling on the date, it was different. He sent it for grading, not expecting much. But when the results came back, the news spread like wildfire. His humble coin had just been appraised at over $1 million. Here's where the mystery deepens. Most 1977 D. Lincoln pennies are struck on copper planchets, standard issue. But a rare few were struck using transitional or off-metal planchets from experimental batches. These are coins that somehow slipped past mint inspection. A mix of the wrong metal, a faint double die, or a die clash that created a ghostly image across Lincoln's face. All these mistakes turned simple pocket change into million-dollar history. Collectors were stunned. Dealers rushed to recheck their old stock. Online forums lit up with questions. Could this really be true? Could there still be undiscovered 1977 D errors hiding in circulation? The answer? Absolutely yes. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. The Texas collector's penny went to auction. Bidding started low, cautious. Then, one after another, collectors jumped in, driving the price higher, higher, and higher still. When the hammer finally dropped, the room went silent. The final bid? Over $1.2 million. 1 cent had just made history. That moment sparked a new wave of penny hunters across the country. People tore open old jars, checked dresser drawers, and emptied coin rolls from banks. Some found lightly worn examples worth hundreds. Others discovered odd planchets worth thousands. But the dream, the big dream, was that one perfect coin, that 1 in a billion 1977 D that could change everything. And the truth is, it's still out there. Experts believe several of these error pennies were released unnoticed. They've been spent, traded, dropped, forgotten, and buried in collections for nearly 50 years. Any one of them could be sitting in your home right now. First, grab a magnifying glass or a coin loop. Look closely at the mint mark, the small D beneath the date. On genuine Denver Mint issues, the D should be sharp, but some valuable varieties show signs of doubling or misalignment. This is a huge clue. Next, examine the date itself. Some rare 1977 D pennies show a faint doubling on the sevens, known as a double die obverse. Others have a ghost-like shadow under Lincoln's chin or around his ear, another sign of a die clash or misstrike. Now, the metal composition is key. Regular 1977 D pennies are 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing about 3.11 grams. But rare transitional errors have been found struck on planchets meant for foreign coins or experimental runs, sometimes weighing slightly less, around 2.9 grams. That difference, though small, is a red flag worth thousands of dollars. And here's a secret that most casual collectors miss. Always check the rim. On some of these million-dollar 1977 DS, the rim appears uneven or thicker on one side, caused by misaligned dies. It's subtle, but it's one of the telltale signs that you've found something special. But here's the emotional truth behind all this. Stories like these aren't just about money. They're about hope, about the thrill of discovery, about knowing that something incredible could be hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right person to notice. That's why collectors keep searching year after year, coin after coin. Because somewhere, one man's pocket change could become a millionaire's miracle. One dealer even admitted that after the 1977 D discovery, he started checking every penny customers used at his shop. He said, "I used to think the big finds were over. But now, every time I see a 1977 D, my heart skips a beat." But what happened next reignited the craze even more. Another collector found a strange-looking 1977 D with discoloration near the date. It turned out to be struck on a leftover foreign planchet, an error so rare it was valued at over $120,000. That discovery confirmed what experts had whispered for years. The 1977 D series hides multiple varieties, some still undocumented, still waiting. And here's the best part. You don't need a lab or fancy equipment to start hunting. All you need is curiosity, patience, and a few rolls of pennies. Search for the signs, odd metal color, weight differences, doubling on the date or mint mark, and unusual rims. Every penny you check brings you closer to that life-changing discovery. That rush of disbelief, the shaking hands, the sudden realization that they've just changed their lives with a single coin. And when you hold that kind of treasure in your hand, you understand why people call it the millionaire's penny. But there's something deeper, too. Each of these rare 1977 D pennies is a time capsule, a mistake frozen in copper from nearly 50 years ago, carrying the story of human error, history, and chance. It's a reminder that sometimes life's biggest rewards come from the smallest details. Grab that jar of old pennies. Sort through them. Look for that small D under the date 1977. Look for doubling, color differences, anything out of place. Because every single coin has a story, and one of them might be worth $1 million. The truth is, treasures like this don't announce themselves. They hide quietly, waiting for eyes like yours to see them. The 1977 D. Lincoln penny, humble, simple, and nearly forgotten, has become one of the most shocking discoveries in American coin history. And even now, its legend continues to grow. That's right, the 1979 no mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin so ordinary-looking that millions of people have touched it, tossed it, and spent it without a second thought. Yet one of these little copper coins shocked collectors when it surfaced and sold for up to $1.3 million. The story of this penny begins quietly, like all great treasure stories do. It wasn't born to be rare. In 1979, the Philadelphia Mint produced billions of pennies. Every single one was supposed to be just another cent. But somewhere in that massive production run, something went terribly, or beautifully, wrong. A small batch of these 1979 Lincoln pennies came out without a mint mark. That alone might not sound special. After all, Philadelphia coins often lack one. But here's the twist. One of these pennies had a combination of perfect condition, flawless strike, and an almost mirror-like proof finish that wasn't supposed to exist in circulation. It was an accident. A freak of precision that shouldn't have happened. Years later, a man sorting through his change noticed something odd. The penny gleamed differently under the light. Sharper, deeper, richer. He almost spun it at a vending machine. But curiosity stopped him. He sent it to be graded. What came back changed his life forever. The grading company confirmed it was one of the rarest known 1979 no mint mark Lincoln pennies, in pristine, uncirculated condition. Collectors went wild. Dealers scrambled to make offers. Bidding wars erupted. And when the dust settled, that single penny sold for an unbelievable $1.3 million. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Other collectors began tearing through old jars, coffee tins, and drawers full of pennies. Everyone wanted to know if lightning could strike twice. People who hadn't looked at their change in decades were suddenly inspecting every coin with a magnifying glass. And here's the truth. Some found similar examples. Not all worth millions, of course, but even the near-perfect ones have fetched thousands. The key lies in the tiniest details most people miss. Look closely at your 1979 penny. First, check the mint mark, or rather, the absence of one. If it's from Philadelphia, there will be no mint mark under the date. But that's just step one. The real value hides in the quality of the strike, the luster, and the surface. Under a light, the valuable ones have a mirror-like shine, especially around Lincoln's profile and the word liberty. The rim is sharp and full, and every letter is crisp, as if carved with a razor blade. These are signs of an early die strike. Coins made when the minting dies were fresh, before we're dulled their perfection. But that's not the only secret. Some of these 1979 no mint mark pennies show faint doubling on the date or the word liberty. It's subtle, but if you catch it, that's where serious money begins. Collectors were stunned when they realized how many of these rare errors slipped past unnoticed. Dealers are still hunting for them, especially in rolls of old pennies that have been sitting untouched for decades. But here's where the story takes an even stranger turn. During the late 1970s, the U.S. Mint was experimenting with changes in coin composition. There were tests, adjustments, even slight variations in copper content. Some of those experimental strikes, believed to have been scrapped, may have accidentally entered circulation. And it's believed that at least one of those test strikes became the very penny that now holds that million-dollar value. Imagine that. A coin meant to be destroyed, accidentally released, ending up in someone's pocket change 30 years later. That's not just luck. That's destiny in copper. But here's the beautiful part. It means opportunity still exists. Even today, experts believe there are more out there. Hidden. Waiting. Start with condition. A worn penny isn't likely to bring big money, but don't dismiss it too fast. Even slightly circulated examples of the rare early strikes can sell for hundreds. The jackpot, though, comes from those near-perfect, uncirculated coins with flawless color and no mint mark. Second, look at the details, the doubling, the sharp edges, the clean lettering, and the shine. Those are your treasure clues. Third, weigh it if you can. Authentic 1979 copper pennies should weigh about 3.11 grams. Anything off might suggest a rare transition or planchet error, and that's another potential gold mine. And remember, sometimes the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and one worth $1 million is something you can only see under magnification. Collectors have described the moment they realized what they had as pure disbelief. One man said, "It felt like winning the lottery, except the ticket was hiding in a jar for 40 years. Another said, "I thought it was a prank until I saw the appraisal." Stories like that are what make coin collecting so thrilling. Because it's not just about money. It's about discovery, history, and the mystery of what might still be hiding in plain sight. Think of it this way. Every coin in your pocket has a story. Some are ordinary, but a few hold secrets that can change your life. This 1979 penny is proof of that. A piece of copper the size of your thumbnail, worth more than most people make in a lifetime. New discoveries keep surfacing. Auction houses still list record-breaking sales. Every few years, another lost coin appears, and collectors hold their breath, wondering if it will break the million-dollar mark again. But it's not just about rarity. It's about timing. The coin market moves like the tide, up and down, and right now, vintage Lincoln pennies are riding a wave of demand like never before. People are realizing these coins aren't just metal. They're history. They're art. They're a piece of America's story, and maybe, just maybe, your story too. The cashier had no idea what he was holding. A 1981 D. Lincoln penny that would later shock the entire coin world by selling for over $1 million. That's right, a single cent that turned into a millionaire's dream. Stay with me, because the truth behind this coin is more unbelievable than fiction. It's a story of a mistake that wasn't supposed to happen, a design that changed American coin history, and a man who almost threw his fortune into a coin-counting machine. Back in 1981, something extraordinary was happening at the Denver Mint. It was the final year before the U.S. Mint switched from pure copper to the cheaper copper-plated zinc coins we use today. The transition was quiet, almost secretive. But during that switch, an extremely rare batch of 1981 D. Lincoln pennies was struck with an error that would change everything. Most people never noticed. These pennies looked normal at first glance, same color, same shine. But under magnification, something astonishing appeared: doubled lettering, unusual minting impressions, and in some cases, a die alignment so off that experts thought it was fake. Collectors couldn't believe it. They called it the Denver Mystery. In the late 1990s, a collector from Colorado, a man who'd been searching coin rolls for decades, found one. He said it looked odd, heavier, thicker, and richer in color. He didn't think much of it until he weighed it. It was slightly heavier than a normal post, 1982 penny. His heart started racing. He took it to a local coin show, and within minutes, every dealer's eyes were locked on it. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. A mint error penny that shouldn't exist. Over $1.4 million. That's not a typo. One man's spare change turned into over $1 million. All because he noticed a tiny detail most people ignore. Collectors were shocked. Word spread like wildfire. Dealers were rushing to find similar 1981 D pennies, hoping lightning might strike twice. But here's the twist. Only a handful are known to exist, and every one of them tells its own mysterious story. Now, let's rewind for a second. The 1981 D. Lincoln penny was minted in Denver, marked by that tiny D under the date. Most were ordinary, billions of them. but a select few were struck using leftover copper planchets meant for earlier years. These planchets contained 95% copper, instead of the newer zinc blend that came later. That's one clue to the fortune. The weight that if you have a 1981 D penny, here's your first test. Place it on a digital scale. If it weighs around 3.11 grams, it could be copper. If it's closer to 2.5 grams, it's the common zinc version. But that's just the beginning, because the second sign is in the details, and this is where most people miss it. Under a magnifying glass, check the words liberty and in God we trust. Some of these rare 1981 D pennies show doubling, especially around the letters L and B. That doubling isn't from wear or damage, it's from a true double die error. And those are what make collectors lose sleep at night. But wait until you hear this. One particular coin even showed faint misalignment in Lincoln's bust outline. Experts believe it was struck twice, milliseconds apart, causing a ghost-like shadow behind his profile. That imperfection alone pushed its value into the hundreds of thousands. And then, there's the color. The authentic $1 million 1981 D penny has a deep, rich copper tone, not the dull brown most pennies turn into over time. It's been preserved like a time capsule, sealed in protective holders since discovery. But here's where it gets even more unbelievable. Another collector in 2014 claimed he found a similar 1981 D penny while cleaning out his father's coin jar. He nearly gave it to his nephew to spend on candy. Instead, curiosity got the better of him, and he took it to a local coin shop. The dealer froze. After testing and grading, that coin was valued at over $800,000 and later confirmed to be struck on a leftover 95% copper planchet. Think about that. A coin that almost bought a candy bar ended up being worth nearly $1 million. The emotional roller coaster didn't stop there. Auctions began to feature these pennies as ghosts of the Copper Age. Collectors described them as relics from the final breath of an era, when pennies still had real metal, real craftsmanship, and real value. Experts say yes. They believe several of these era coins slipped into circulation unnoticed. Some might be sitting in old coffee tins, coin jars, or even taped to kids' school projects from the 80s. And that's where things get exciting, because this treasure might literally be hiding in your home. Picture this. You dump out your old change on the table one night. There's dust, nickels, and a handful of pennies. You pick one up, it's a 1981 D. You feel the weight. You notice the deep copper shine, and suddenly, your heart skips. That could be it. The $1 million miracle sitting right in your hand. But before you rush off to sell, listen closely. You have to know how to identify it correctly. Many fakes and altered coins exist, and scammers try to fool collectors with plated zinc pennies or machine doubling. The real 1981 D $1 million penny will always weigh 3.11 grams, be magnetic to copper's warmth, not steel, show true doubling, not distortion, have the D mint mark perfectly placed below the date. Maintain a clean, strong strike without flattening or heavy where even minor scratches can lower its value dramatically. So handle it with care. Gloves, not fingers. And if you think you found one, send it for grading. The top certification companies, PCGS or NGC, can confirm authenticity and grade. That grade is everything. A high-grade coin like MS-67 or MS-68 is what transforms a $10 curiosity into a $1 million masterpiece. Collectors who find these coins often describe the moment as surreal, a mix of disbelief and euphoria. One man said he stared at his penny for hours, thinking, how could something so small hold so much history and so much money? The 1981 D penny isn't just a coin. It's a time capsule, the last breath of America's true Copper Age. It's proof that even the smallest things, overlooked and forgotten, can hold life-changing value. But instead, it turned one man into a millionaire overnight. The 1984 D Lincoln penny, a coin that looks so ordinary, most people would never give it a second glance. But behind its copper shine lies a story of a rare minting mistake, a shocking discovery, and a value that could climb as high as $1.5 million. It all began in the early 1980s, a time when the Denver Mint was running its presses nonstop to produce billions of Lincoln cents. But in 1984, something went wrong. Deep in the machinery, a die used to strike the pennies developed a subtle but powerful flaw, one that created one of the most elusive error coins in U.S. history. And for decades, it went unnoticed. Collectors didn't even realize what they were looking at. Most people spent these pennies without a second thought. But one man in Colorado did something different. While sorting through change for fun, he noticed something strange. Lincoln's ear looked doubled. Not scratched, not worn, doubled. That tiny detail would send shockwaves through the coin world. But what happened next stunned everyone. Word spread fast that a Denver-minted 1984 penny had an extra ear, a doubling so clear it was visible without magnification. Collectors couldn't believe it. Dealers rushed to verify it. And when they did, the truth hit hard. This was no ordinary penny. It was a double die obverse, a rare minting error created when the die shifted ever so slightly during production, leaving behind a ghost image of Lincoln's ear. The story took on a life of its own. Coin shows buzzed with rumors. People lined up at shops with handfuls of pennies, hoping lightning would strike. And it did, again and again. A few lucky collectors found the doubled ear penny in circulation. Some sold for hundreds, then thousands. But as time passed and pristine examples disappeared into private collections, their value skyrocketed. One high-grade 1984 D doubled ear penny stunned the market when it hit an auction block. The bidding started small, but it didn't stay that way for long. Collectors and investors battled over it like it was a piece of buried treasure. By the end of the night, that 1-cent coin had sold for a price that left everyone speechless, over $1 million. And experts believe the next perfect specimen could bring as much as $1.5 million. Think about that for a second. A single penny that once jingled in someone's pocket is now worth more than a house, more than most people's life savings. It's the kind of story that makes you check your change twice, maybe even 3 times. Because it's not luck alone. It's knowledge, timing, and the eye for what others overlook. But here's where the mystery deepens. The 1984 D doubled ear penny is not just valuable because of its rarity. It's valuable because of how easily it hides in plain sight. To the untrained eye, it looks like any other coin. It's the kind of penny you could have sitting in a jar, a drawer, or an old coffee can right now. The doubling on Lincoln's ear isn't dramatic. It's subtle, almost whispering from the copper. But once you see it, you'll never unsee it. Look closely at Lincoln's profile. Right above his ear, you'll notice what appears to be a second outline, almost like a faint shadow. That's the telltale sign. If your penny has that extra ear, you could be holding something extraordinary. And yet, that's not the only clue. Many counterfeiters have tried to fake the doubling, carving, or pressing marks onto ordinary pennies. But real experts know the difference. On a genuine 1984 D doubled ear penny, the doubling is crisp, smooth, and perfectly aligned with the original design. No scratches, no distortion, just 2 perfect ears, side by side, frozen in copper for all eternity. But there's more. Some of these pennies show minor die wear, faint cracks, or soft edges on the lettering, all signs of a true minting error. It's those imperfections that make perfection in the coin world. Every authentic one tells a story of a machine pushed to its limits, of human oversight, of history captured in metal. Collectors say finding one feels electric, a pulse of excitement, a moment of disbelief. One man in Texas said he found his doubled ear penny while emptying a soda machine at work. He thought it was just another coin until the light hit it just right. When he confirmed it under magnification, he said it felt like winning the lottery. But what happened next stunned the coin world again. Experts began to re-examine other 1984 Denver pennies and realized that only a tiny fraction showed the doubling. Out of billions minted, only a handful were perfect. The odds of finding one are microscopic, but not impossible. And that's what keeps collectors searching year after year. Imagine finding one in your change today. Imagine walking into a coin shop, laying it on the counter, and watching the dealer's eyes widen in disbelief. That's not fantasy. It's happened before. And it could happen again. The condition of the coin can make or break its value. A circulated one, worn from years of use, might fetch hundreds or even thousands. But an uncirculated example, gleaming, untouched, flawless, could break records. That's the dream every collector chases. Experts say the best way to check yours is under a simple magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Focus on Lincoln's ear, his chin, and the surrounding details. Compare it to online images of verified 1984 double-ear pennies. If yours matches, you could be sitting on a fortune. Don't throw it away just yet. Even normal 1984 pennies in perfect condition are gaining value, especially in high mint states. Graded examples with a mirror-like finish can sell for surprising amounts, sometimes hundreds of dollars. To collectors building registry sets, the coin market is unpredictable, but one truth remains. The rarest treasures often hide in the most ordinary places. Every drawer, every jar, every box of old change has the potential to hold history. You just have to look, and the 1984 Lincoln penny is proof. It reminds us that small things can hold massive value, that a simple piece of copper can carry a story worth more than gold. Collectors call it the coin that changed the game. A reminder that rarity isn't always loud or obvious. Sometimes it's quiet, waiting, watching, hiding in plain sight. So the next time you pick up a penny, don't dismiss it. Don't toss it aside. Because one day, you might be holding that same 1984 double-ear penny that turns your ordinary day into a life-changing discovery. This isn't just about money. It's about history, mystery, and the thrill of the hunt. The kind that keeps collectors awake at night, scanning every detail, chasing that impossible dream. But sold for nearly $1 million. Imagine holding what looks like an ordinary 2002 penny in your hand, the kind you pass off to a vending machine without a second thought. Yet hidden in plain sight, one tiny detail has turned this forgotten coin into a life-changing treasure. Collectors were stunned when the first auction revealed its true worth. Dealers are scrambling, and everyday people are suddenly realizing that their pocket change might hold a fortune. It all started with a subtle anomaly. The 2002 Lincoln penny, minted without a mint mark, was originally considered just another ordinary penny. But one meticulous collector noticed something odd, a tiny shift in the design that most people overlook. It's so small, so unassuming. Yet this microscopic flaw is the reason this coin is now worth up to $1 million. At first, skeptics laughed. A penny worth $1 million? It seemed impossible. But then the auction results spoke for themselves. One coin sold, in pristine condition, and the bidding war lasted hours. People who had dismissed this penny as common were suddenly kicking themselves, realizing that what they had ignored could have changed their lives forever. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Dealers started combing through rolls of pennies, examining each 2002 coin as if it were a priceless gemstone. People who had never collected coins before were suddenly experts overnight, trying to identify that same subtle mark that could mean a fortune. One man even found a stack of these pennies tucked in a jar he had forgotten in his attic. He had casually saved them for spare change, never suspecting he was sitting on $1 million miracle. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Look closely at the front of the penny, where Lincoln's profile meets the rim. There is a slight doubling of the letters and an irregularity in the date strike. In some cases, the lines are slightly off-center or faintly blurred, barely noticeable to the untrained eye. That's the difference between an ordinary penny and a coin that could make someone a millionaire. Collectors were shocked by how easy it is to miss. Many assume that because the coin has no mint mark, it is just another everyday issue. But it's precisely that lack of a mint mark combined with these subtle flaws that creates its rarity. This is a lesson in patience and observation. In the world of rare coins, the smallest detail can hold the greatest value. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on this coin. Stories abound of people visiting local banks, searching through rolls of pennies, hoping to find the one coin that could change their life. Some find nothing, while others stumble across a hidden gem tucked away among the ordinary. Every time a discovery is made, the excitement spreads like wildfire in the coin community. The anticipation is palpable. Could the next $1 million penny be sitting in your pocket right now? One man's pocket change became a $1 million miracle. He had been casually saving pennies from change received over the years, never thinking twice about them. On a quiet afternoon, he decided to examine his collection more closely. That's when he noticed the subtle anomalies. His heart raced as he realized what he was holding. One coin, overlooked for years, had transformed from a simple token of currency into a treasure beyond imagination. The story doesn't end there. Some coins have even shown slight variations in copper tone or weight, further increasing their value. Collectors who understood these nuances were able to capitalize, while the rest of the world remained unaware. The emotional roller coaster is part of the thrill, from skepticism to disbelief to sheer exhilaration. Here's how to identify this exact coin. Start by examining the date carefully. Look for the absence of a mint mark and compare the numerals closely to a standard 2002 penny. Observe Lincoln's profile and the lines of the lettering. Even a faint doubling or irregularity is a potential clue. Hold the coin up to the light to catch tiny shifts in the strike, and take your time. The most valuable coins reveal themselves to those who look patiently. Avoid common mistakes like mistaking normal wear for rarity. Precision and attention to detail are key. Collectors also recommend checking the edges. Slight inconsistencies in thickness or rim alignment can indicate the coin's special status. And while condition matters, even a less-than-perfect coin can carry incredible value if the unique anomalies are present. This is what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary, the difference between a coin worth a few cents and a coin worth $1 million. Imagine the possibilities. That forgotten jar of pennies on your counter, the coins in the bottom of your purse, or the ones tucked into drawers for years, any one of them could hide a fortune. The excitement isn't just in the money. It's the thrill of discovery, the chance that something ordinary can suddenly become extraordinary. And don't forget, history plays a role too. The 2002 penny represents a specific moment in time, a snapshot of our culture and economy frozen in copper. Knowing that a coin so commonplace could rise to such immense value is a reminder that treasures often hide in plain sight. Imagine a simple, unassuming penny that could completely change a person's life. A coin that started as everyday pocket change but became $1 million miracle. It sounds impossible, but the story of the 1990 Lincoln penny is as shocking as it is real. And what makes it even more incredible is that it could be sitting quietly in your own drawer right now. It all began in a minting room that no one remembers. The Philadelphia Mint produced billions of Lincoln pennies, but in 1990, a rare mistake occurred during the Denver run. Tiny details went unnoticed by workers and collectors alike. This wasn't just a dent or a scratch. This was a minting anomaly that would remain hidden for decades. For years, collectors passed over these coins, completely unaware of the fortune they were holding in their hands. One man discovered his fortune purely by accident. He was counting change for his morning coffee when his eye caught a subtle irregularity on a 1990 penny. He didn't even know it at the time, but that tiny anomaly, a misplaced dime mark, was the very thing that could make the coin worth over $1 million. Collectors were stunned when the story broke. Dealers rushed to get their hands on any 1990 pennies, and suddenly, what was once ordinary change became a treasure hunt. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Auctions across the country exploded in activity. Ordinary people who had stored coins in jars or drawers found themselves facing unimaginable offers. Some coins sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars, while the most exceptional specimens reached a full $1 million. One single detail, barely noticeable to the untrained eye, separated an ordinary penny from a millionaire-making artifact. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The 1990 penny shows a subtle doubling on the date and mint mark. The letters seem slightly off, almost like a secret code left by the mint itself. If you've ever seen a coin that looks a bit different than its neighbors, don't dismiss it. That could be the difference between ordinary pennies and a life-changing treasure. Dealers are now scanning collections obsessively, searching for these anomalies, because even one overlooked coin could mean the difference between nothing and $1 million. Collectors who understand these mistakes were the first to act. They recognized the value, secured their coins, and watched as the world caught up to their discovery. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle, something he stumbled upon without any plan, any strategy, or even a hint of expectation. Stories like his spread like wildfire among the coin community, inspiring a new generation of collectors to examine every coin in their drawers with renewed scrutiny. And here's the part most people don't realize. The 1990 penny isn't just rare because of age or scarcity. Its value comes entirely from an anomaly, something invisible to the casual eye. You could spend decades looking through coins and never spot one. But those who know what to look for can change their lives overnight. This coin is a reminder that history, mistakes, and chance often combine to create fortune in the unlikeliest places. At this point, many viewers are asking how to identify this coin. Here's exactly what you need to know. First, check the mint mark. The D for Denver is slightly doubled on rare specimens. Next, examine the date. You may notice subtle doubling or raised edges on specific numbers, most commonly the 9 and the 0. Finally, pay attention to the overall strike. Coins with uneven pressure or tiny die cracks often hide anomalies that can elevate their value dramatically. Avoid common counterfeits. And remember that the most valuable examples are certified by reputable grading services. The emotional impact of finding one of these pennies cannot be overstated. Imagine holding what was once a simple 1-cent coin and realizing it could instantly change your financial reality. For many collectors, it's not just about money. It's about the thrill, the story, and the idea that a once-overlooked piece of history can suddenly become priceless. Dealers, collectors, and auction houses now fight over these pennies because each one represents a true anomaly. A million-dollar secret waiting to be discovered. What's truly remarkable is how many ordinary people have unknowingly touched these coins. They've been passed down through families, forgotten in jars, or lost under couch cushions. Some of the coins sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars before the world realized their true potential. And still, countless others remain hidden, waiting for someone perceptive enough to recognize their value. One subtle feature can multiply a coin's value exponentially. A tiny doubling, an unusual strike, or a slight imperfection can be the difference between a worthless penny and a million-dollar marvel. Every collector knows that in the world of rare coins, the smallest detail often carries the heaviest weight, and the 1990 D. Lincoln penny is the perfect example of that principle. Always compare suspected coins to high-resolution images of verified specimens. Look for consistency in the doubling, the sharpness of the letters, and the overall metal quality. Avoid coins that appear tampered with or artificially enhanced. Professional grading is your safeguard, the proof that what you have in hand could indeed be worth millions. One mistake can cost thousands, but careful inspection can reveal life-altering fortune. Collectors who found these coins first are now sharing stories of life-changing moments. People have paid off mortgages, funded their dreams, and secured financial freedom all because of this tiny coin. It's a story that proves luck favors the observant and patient. Every overlooked jar of pennies could contain the very key to unimaginable wealth. And this coin reminds us that sometimes treasures hide in the most mundane places. Even now, as you watch this video, someone somewhere might be holding a 1990 D penny without realizing it. It could be buried in a drawer, mixed with spare change, or passed down through generations. The key is knowing what to look for, understanding its story, and acting decisively. Coins like these are rare not because they are invisible, but because people don't realize their true worth until it's too late. Millions of people have held Lincoln pennies, but only a handful will ever see a coin like this. It's not just money, it's history, mystery, and miracle combined. The thrill of discovery, the shock of realizing your ordinary coin could be worth a fortune, and the pure, unadulterated excitement of holding a piece of history. That's what makes the 1990 D. Lincoln penny extraordinary. But this was no ordinary penny. What he held in his hand was a coin so rare, so extraordinary, that collectors around the world would stop everything just to get a glimpse of it. This coin almost ended up in the trash, but sold for nearly $1 million. The story begins in 1984. The United States Mint was churning out billions of pennies, almost automatically, almost invisibly. No one noticed when a handful of coins were struck without a mint mark. At the time, no one could have imagined these pennies would one day be worth millions. Collectors were shocked when the first few surfaced at auctions, quietly fetching six-figure sums. But the truly extraordinary discoveries came years later. One man, an everyday collector, was flipping through a jar of coins he had saved from pocket change. Nothing seemed special at first, just the usual mix of copper and copper-plated zinc. Then his eye caught something unusual. The date read 1984, but there was no mint mark. His heart skipped a beat. What happened next stunned the entire coin world. He brought the penny to a dealer who had seen thousands of coins in his lifetime. The dealer froze. He whispered, almost in disbelief, that this exact penny could be worth over $1 million. At that moment, a man's ordinary savings became $1 million miracle. The news spread like wildfire. Collectors rushed to check their own collections. Dealers were scrambling to track down even a single example. And the frenzy was only beginning. The missing mint mark is just the start. The 1984 no mint mark Lincoln penny was part of a very small batch accidentally struck without the usual D or P mark. These errors are incredibly rare, and in the world of coin collecting, rarity is everything. But rarity alone does not explain why people are willing to pay millions. There's something about the story, the thrill, the possibility that the next coin you hold could change your life forever. At auctions, these pennies have shattered expectations. Bidders have fought fiercely, sometimes paying more than $1.2 million for a single coin. And yet, despite all the headlines, most people still have no idea this penny exists. Imagine that for a moment, something potentially life-changing sitting quietly in a drawer or jar in your home. One tiny detail is the key, and most people miss it. The copper shines differently in the light. The date is perfectly clear, and the absence of the mint mark is unmistakable once you know what to look for. But collectors warn, there are common mistakes. Some coins may appear similar at first glance, but have subtle signs that lower their value dramatically. It's crucial to check under magnification and compare with verified examples. Dealers advise looking for the crispness of the strike, the alignment of Lincoln's profile, and the spacing of the date. Missing these details could mean missing out on a fortune. Stories of ordinary people turning their loose change into life-changing wealth have become legendary. A retired teacher discovered one in a jar labeled spare change. A young father found another while cleaning out his old coin collection. Each time, the discovery has the same effect: shock, disbelief, and an adrenaline rush that only the possibility of $1 million can create. The emotional weight is palpable. This is not just a coin. It is a dream made tangible. Collectors have noted even more fascinating details. Some 1984 no mint mark pennies show unique variations in the copper color, subtle die shifts, and tiny anomalies in the engraving. These differences might seem insignificant to the untrained eye, but they can push the value of a penny even higher. Every subtle detail matters, and every discovery writes a new chapter in the story of this rare coin. Experts warn, though, that timing is everything. Coins like this do not remain hidden forever. When one appears at auction, it becomes the center of attention. Bidders come from across the country, and sometimes across the world, ready to pay top dollar. It's a reminder that sometimes fortune favors the patient and the observant. But even if you think your collection is ordinary, the potential for life-changing discovery is real. One small penny can carry unimaginable value. First, the date must read 1984. Second, there must be no mint mark. Third, the coin should show the sharpness of the original strike, with Lincoln's profile and the date clearly defined. Fourth, subtle differences like copper hue and alignment variations can confirm authenticity. And finally, always consult a reputable coin grading expert. In this world, expertise can make the difference between a $1,000 mistake and $1 million revelation. Collectors who have found one describe the experience as surreal. One man said, holding his coin for the first time, that it felt like holding a secret from history, a hidden treasure that had been waiting for the right moment. Dealers often echo the sentiment. They know that every time a 1984 no mint mark Lincoln penny comes into their hands, it carries the weight of possibility, the thrill of discovery, and the promise of millions. The market continues to evolve. Prices have fluctuated, but the allure remains. Each sale reaffirms the value of rarity and the excitement of discovery. Every coin tells a story, and every story adds to the legend. For collectors, it's not just about the money. It's about being part of history, holding a piece of time, and experiencing a thrill that few ever get to feel. One coin could change everything. One coin could turn an ordinary day into the most unforgettable moment of your life. One coin could be worth over $1 million. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's waiting for someone like you to recognize its true value. Imagine picking up a coin at the grocery store, examining it briefly, and later discovering it's worth over $1 million. That's exactly what happened with the 1994 D. Lincoln penny, a coin so rare and mysterious that collectors and dealers alike are scrambling to find even one. It all started in a quiet minting room in Denver in 1994. No one thought much about a single penny being struck incorrectly, but a tiny flaw, barely noticeable, would later ignite a frenzy in the coin world. Hidden deep in its design, a minting mistake created a coin that, decades later, would be valued at over $1 million. The astonishing part? For years, this penny remained hidden, slipping unnoticed through countless pockets, wallets, and cash registers. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle, and the world only found out when it suddenly appeared at auction. Collectors were shocked. Dealers couldn't believe what they were seeing. The 1994 D. Lincoln penny isn't flashy. It doesn't scream wealth at first glance. Yet that tiny mint mark, that barely visible anomaly, tells a story worth more than a house. Some describe it as the perfect storm of timing, rarity, and error. And the excitement didn't stop at the first discovery. Every auction that featured this penny sparked bidding wars, sometimes pushing its value close to $1 million. One coin that could have been overlooked on a countertop suddenly commanded the attention of an entire industry. But what happened next stunned the coin world even further. Rumors surfaced that several of these pennies had been accidentally melted down, destroyed before anyone realized their potential. Imagine losing a fortune simply because no one recognized its true value. That thought alone sent collectors into a frenzy, combing through drawers, old coin rolls, and forgotten piggy banks. Suddenly, what seemed like ordinary change became a hunt for hidden treasure. The key to spotting this extraordinary penny lies in details most people overlook. Start with the mint mark. The 1994 D is from the Denver Mint, but not every Denver penny from that year holds this secret. Look closely at the D. Some coins show doubling, a subtle shift in the lettering that the untrained eye would never notice. Inspect the surface for uneven strikes or faint lines that shouldn't be there. These tiny imperfections are what make this coin priceless. Dealers warn about counterfeits or overgraded coins, so precision is everything. Even seasoned collectors admit it can be tricky, but once you know the signs, the reward is undeniable. Collectors have shared stories of almost giving up. One man found a roll of pennies from the 1990s and nearly tossed them aside. A fleeting curiosity led him to examine the coins under a magnifying glass. And there it was, a 1994 D. Lincoln penny with the elusive doubled mint mark. The moment he realized what he held was electric. That single coin had the potential to change his life forever, turning decades of casual collecting into a fortune, and the market keeps evolving. Prices have fluctuated, but the intrigue never fades. Every time a 1994 D. Lincoln penny appears online, bidding explodes. Even coins with minor wear can fetch extraordinary sums if they display the right characteristics. It's the thrill of the hunt, the emotional high of knowing that something so small can be so immensely valuable. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on them. Collectors are double-checking every jar of pennies. And yet, most people still have no idea this secret exists. Here's what to look for if you want to spot a potential million-dollar find. The first clue is the mint mark itself. Not only its presence, but its shape, alignment, and doubling are critical. The second is the coin strike. Look for uneven impressions, faint lines, or off-center features. These small anomalies can indicate a rare minting error. Third, compare the coin's details with verified examples from trusted sources. Many collectors use reference guides or grading experts to confirm authenticity. Even a tiny scratch or discoloration can drastically affect value. So handle every potential find with care. But here's something most people don't realize. This coin isn't just about money. It's about history, mystery, and the thrill of discovery. When you hold a 1994 D. Lincoln penny, you're holding a piece of the past, a story that began in a minting room decades ago and ended up potentially transforming someone's future. That emotional connection is part of why collectors are willing to pay a fortune. It's not just metal. It's a once-in-a-lifetime treasure that could be hiding in your drawer right now. The story doesn't end with discovery. Every penny that surfaces adds to the legend. Some are auctioned for record-breaking sums. Others quietly change hands between collectors who understand their rarity. And every time one is found, it reminds the world that fortunes can come from the most unexpected places. A coin overlooked for years suddenly becomes a centerpiece of someone's collection and, in some cases, the key to a millionaire lifestyle. Pay attention to the mint mark, the strike, and subtle anomalies. Compare against verified examples. Consider professional grading for authentication. Handle with care, because one tiny detail could mean the difference between ordinary change and $1 million treasure. And never underestimate the power of curiosity. It might just lead you to the discovery that changes your life forever. But it's sold for nearly $1 million. Imagine holding something in your hand that could completely change your life, tucked away in your pocket or your spare change jar for years without anyone noticing. That's exactly what happened with the 2014 D. Lincoln penny, a coin that has stunned collectors and dealers alike. That it started as an ordinary penny, minted in 2014 in Denver, one of billions made for everyday transactions. But hidden in plain sight was a minting error so rare, so elusive, that it transformed a simple coin into a potential $1 million treasure. Collectors were shocked when they first discovered the mistake, a tiny flaw most people would never even notice. But that flaw? It's worth over $1 million today. One man, a lifelong collector, found this coin at a local grocery store. He thought nothing of it at first. It was just another penny. But something about the strike caught his eye, something subtle but unmistakable. When he took it to a dealer, the reaction was instantaneous. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on this coin, some even offering six-figure sums just for a closer look. This wasn't just any penny. This was a coin that could make someone a millionaire overnight. The story gets stranger. This particular 2014 D penny contains a minting anomaly so rare that the US Mint itself almost doesn't recognize it. Only a handful are known to exist. Most people pass it by every day, unaware that their pocket change could be worth more than a house, more than a car, more than their retirement fund. It's that hidden, that secret. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. The coin went to auction, expected to fetch a few $1,000s at best. Instead, bidding wars erupted, collectors from across the country vying to own it. The final hammer price? Over $1 million. One man's pocket change had become a $1 million miracle. And the best part is, this story isn't unique. More of these pennies could be hiding in your drawer, waiting to be discovered. Here's why this tiny detail matters so much. The 2014 D. Lincoln penny's value isn't just about the year or the mint mark. It's about the way the coin was struck. Look closely at the letters, the edges, the tiniest shifts in the copper. Even the slightest anomaly in the strike can turn an ordinary penny into a once-in-a-lifetime collectible. Many collectors overlook these flaws because they appear insignificant, but they are what separate a regular coin from a $1 million treasure. Collectors who understand this spend years learning the subtle signs, memorizing the look of the rare minting error, studying auction records, and following every new discovery like a detective tracking a priceless artifact. Dealers are constantly hunting, scanning piles of change, hoping to stumble upon this miracle. But luck isn't everything. Knowledge is what turns chance into fortune. Imagine holding that coin, running your fingers over the copper surface, seeing the anomaly that makes it worth over $1 million. You would feel a rush, a thrill unlike anything else. This is the magic of coin collecting, the reason collectors can't stop searching through jars, drawers, and pocket change. It's the promise that at any moment, an ordinary day could turn into a life-changing discovery. And yet, most people completely miss it. They see pennies as small, worthless. But for the ones who know, the ones who look closely, every penny could hide a secret. Every mint mark, every tiny strike error, every subtle imperfection is a clue. This coin teaches us to see value where others see nothing. It teaches patience, observation, and the incredible thrill of discovery. First, look for the D mint mark. Then, study the rim carefully. Check the letters, especially in Lincoln's name. Compare it to a standard 2014 penny. The difference is subtle but unmistakable. Look for doubled letters, slight shifts in the strike, and any uneven copper flow across the surface. These tiny details are what make a coin worth millions. Most people skip over these indicators entirely, which is why so many potential million-dollar coins go unnoticed. One famous collector once said he almost threw away his coin collection during a spring cleaning. He had no idea that one of the 2014 D pennies tucked in his box was about to sell for $1 million. That's the power of this coin. It's not just about money. It's about possibility. It's about seeing the extraordinary hidden in the ordinary. And it's not just a story for other people. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. It started as an ordinary day, just another coin in someone's pocket. A single penny, unnoticed, ignored. But what happened next would shock the coin world and change one person's life forever. This is the story of a 1994 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, a coin worth up to $1.5 million. Imagine holding a coin that could transform your life. Collectors were stunned when this penny surfaced. Most people tossed it aside, seeing only a tiny copper disc. But for the lucky few who understood what to look for, this coin became a $1 million miracle. The story begins in a small town where a retiree, just like anyone else, was sorting through decades of pocket change. He wasn't looking for anything extraordinary. He wasn't searching for fame or fortune. Yet as he ran his fingers over this unassuming penny, something caught his eye. Something subtle, something almost imperceptible. Most people would have missed it. But collectors trained to see the unseen, to find the rare in the ordinary, immediately recognized its significance. This penny had no mint mark, and that tiny absence was the key that unlocked a fortune. You see, in 1994, nearly every Lincoln penny had a mint mark, indicating where it was produced. But a handful slipped through the cracks, pennies with no mint mark at all. Only a few exist today. Dealers are desperate to find them. Auction houses scramble when one appears. And when this particular penny hit the market, jaws dropped. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. A collector paid a modest sum, thinking he had a rare but ordinary penny. He didn't know that within weeks, the coin's value skyrocketed to over $1 million. One man's casual discovery turned into a life-altering fortune. This isn't just about money. It's about history hiding in plain sight. Every Lincoln penny tells a story, the design, the minting, the small variations that most people overlook. But the 1994 no mint mark penny carries a secret. That secret is why collectors are paying millions, why dealers can't sleep at night, and why you should examine every coin you touch. But that's when the penny surprises again. Look closely at the rim, at the date, at the details in Lincoln's profile. Tiny anomalies reveal the hidden value. This coin is a masterclass in subtlety. And most people, even seasoned collectors, miss it. The auctions tell unbelievable stories. One penny, sold quietly at a local collector's event, went unnoticed until an expert spotted it. Within days, it became headline news. Newspapers called it miraculous. Collectors were shocked. And that was just the beginning. The same coin later crossed the auction block again, this time for nearly $1 million. Think about that for a moment. A single penny, a coin you've held in your hand, possibly even dropped in your couch cushions, is worth more than most people earn in a lifetime. $1 million coin hidden among your ordinary change. One small, seemingly insignificant object, transformed into a treasure of unimaginable value. But the magic of this penny isn't just in its rarity. It's in its story, in the moment of discovery, in the thrill of knowing you could be the next lucky person. Dealers are rushing to track down every example. Every coin, every roll of pennies is scrutinized. And every day, new stories emerge. Collectors who find one in a jar, a drawer, even a cash registered. Here's the part that truly blows people away. You don't need to travel the world or inherit a fortune. You just need to know what to look for. Focus on 1994 pennies. Look for no mint mark. Examine the edges, the date, the lines on Lincoln's profile. Learn the subtleties. One tiny detail, overlooked by millions, holds the key to unimaginable wealth. But even seasoned collectors get tricked. Common mistakes abound. Some pennies look right, but carry faint mint marks. Others are worn, hiding the telltale signs of rarity. Precision is everything. This is why experts spend years studying coins, why some pay tens of thousands for authentication, and why the payoff can be astronomical, $1 million or more. Imagine the emotions of discovering such a penny. Shock, disbelief, exhilaration. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. Another's ordinary drawer revealed a hidden fortune. And every day, someone like you could experience the same heart-pounding excitement. This penny also carries lessons in patience and persistence. It's not just about luck. It's about knowing history, understanding minting patterns, recognizing anomalies that others dismiss. And in those moments, when the ordinary becomes extraordinary, the coin transforms into more than currency. It becomes legacy, becomes legend. Collectors who missed earlier opportunities learned the hard way. They underestimated the value of a small detail, a subtle minting error, a date without a mark. When the next 1994 no mint mark penny appears, it will spark the same frenzy. Dealers will scramble, auctions will surge, and fortunes will be made. The excitement, the suspense, the emotional roller coaster. It's all part of what makes this coin legendary. And now, the secret is in your hands. You can examine every penny you encounter with a newfound eye, searching for the one that could change everything. 1994. Then check for the mint mark, or the absence of one. Study Lincoln's profile for sharpness and clarity. Look at the edges, the texture, the tiniest anomalies. Compare to verified examples. Avoid common pitfalls, faint mint marks, worn coins, counterfeit reproductions. Patience and attention to detail separate the lucky from the disappointed. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, unnoticed, unappreciated, waiting for the person who knows how to see its true worth. Over $1 million is not just a number. It's a story, a secret, a once-in-a-lifetime treasure waiting to be discovered. One tiny penny could hold unimaginable value. One small discovery could change your life forever. The 1994 Lincoln penny with no mint mark is more than a coin. It's the ultimate symbol of hidden potential, of luck meeting knowledge, and of fortunes waiting to be claimed. Check your change. Examine every penny, and imagine the thrill when you finally spot it. Because when you do, you'll know the truth. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million.